It all started on a busy road, cars speeding by, horns blaring, and no one noticing the small figure lying near the curb. No one except one man. That man would change everything. A dog had just been thrown out of a moving car. His body hit the ground hard, rolling several times before coming to a stop. He didn't move. He didn't cry. He just lay there, shaking and gasping for air. His name wasn't known then, but later they would call him Bruno. The man ran toward him, pushing through the traffic. When he reached Bruno, he realized how bad it was. The dog's legs were scraped, his jaw seemed injured, and he was barely breathing. Without thinking twice, he picked him up and rushed to the nearest animal hospital. That single act of kindness, stopping when no one else did, saved Bruno's life. At the hospital, the vet team worked fast. They cleaned his wounds, started 4 fluids, and gave him medicine for shock. Bruno was severely dehydrated, weak, and in pain. He hadn't eaten in days. The team wasn't sure if he would make it through the night, but they decided to fight for him anyway. News about Bruno's rescue spread online, and soon, it reached a young woman who lived miles away. When she saw his photo, something inside her broke. She couldn't be there right away, but she immediately began helping, contacting people in the area, arranging food donations, and raising money for his treatment. Dozens of kind strangers stepped in to help one little dog they'd never met. The next day, the woman finally arrived at the hospital. When she saw Bruno lying there, weak but alive, she started crying. He was so thin his ribs showed, his breathing slow and shallow. But even in that state, there was something special in his eyes. He looked up at her not with fear, but with trust, like he was saying, "I'm not giving up if you won't." The vet explained that Bruno's condition was serious. He had ehrlichiosis, a dangerous tick-borne disease that affects the blood. He was also severely anemic and battling old injuries that hadn't healed properly. His body was fragile, but his will to live was strong. The young woman decided to stay by his side through it all. She visited him every day, bringing soft blankets, small meals, and gentle care. She sat beside him for hours, stroking his fur, whispering to him that everything would be okay. Slowly, Bruno began to respond. He started wagging his tail when she entered the room. The days turned into weeks. Bruno's recovery wasn't easy. Some mornings he wouldn't eat. Some nights, his fever would rise again, and the vet would have to run emergency tests. But every time it seemed hopeless, Bruno would surprise everyone, standing up for a few seconds longer, eating a few bites more. One day, the vet called it a turning point. Bruno's red blood cell count had improved. His appetite was back. The treatment was working. For the first time, everyone allowed themselves to feel a little hope. As Bruno got stronger, his rescuer took him outside for short walks around the clinic. He was cautious at first, but soon, his tail started wagging again. The sunshine, the fresh air, the sound of people around him, it was as if Bruno was learning to live again. A few weeks later, Bruno was finally discharged from the hospital. He went home with the young woman who had cared for him from day one. His legs were still weak, and he needed medication every day. But now he had a safe place to rest and someone who truly loved him. The following month brought more progress. Bruno's fur started to grow back. His eyes became brighter. He gained weight and learned to play again. The first time he ran across the yard, stumbling a little but full of joy. Everyone watching couldn't help but smile. Bruno had changed completely, not just on the outside, but inside too. The scared, broken dog that once lay on the roadside was now a confident, happy soul. He loved going on walks, greeting neighbors, and curling up next to his rescuer at night. But maybe the most powerful part of his story isn't just that he survived, it's the bond he created along the way. Between him, the man who stopped, and the woman who refused to give up, a small act of compassion grew into something extraordinary. Bruno's story spread far and wide, touching hearts everywhere. People wrote messages, donated to other rescues, and promised never to ignore an animal in need again. One act of kindness had turned into hundreds. Now, when Bruno runs across the grass, his fur shining under the sun, it's hard to believe he was once left for dead on the side of the road. His eyes are full of life, his spirit unbreakable. He's living proof that even in the darkest moments, hope can still find its way. And maybe that's what makes Bruno's story so powerful, because it reminds us that kindness costs nothing, but it can mean everything. So, if this story touched your heart, take a moment to share it. You never know who might need to see it, or what life might be saved because of it. Because every Bruno deserves a second chance.